Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 4 of the Cold Extraction. Lex the Grey here. So, our party enters this new map. They are following. Jax is following Keera based on her recent satellite imagery of this specific area. The Brute team, Team Brute, has taken the scenic route with their snowmobiles, so they're going all the way around this mountain right here, or this is at least part of the mountain. You can see this trail kind of splits. There is this tighter trail, and then there is this trail that loops around the mountain. But you see this little landmark here. This is actually questionable. It's a mystery. You can see it. You can probably figure out what it is, but I'm going to leave it up to the team to discover. And we'll get to that in a moment. So, before we start, I have awarded both members, Jax with 2 experience and Keera with 2 experience. I want to follow a house method of advancing. Typically it's every 5, but here's what I want to do. With every 2 experience, you can level up, you can increase the die type of a skill that's equal to or less than the equivalent tied attribute. For 4 points, you can increase a skill beyond the linked attribute. For 8 points, you can increase an attribute or acquire an edge. It's different than the Savage Worlds method of advancing. It's more of a banking system. You spend the points and they get deducted. You don't accumulate them over time. There are no ranks. It's like GURPS. Think GURPS, generic universal role-playing system, and that's basically what I'm trying to do. Now, they have 2 for now, but I've not updated anything just yet. We have the pool of caps here, which represents for both members, not individually. And let's roll to see what is going to happen here in our opening scene. I'm going to try to do this per episode, just to get a feel of how things will turn out. So rolling on the 1-page mythic, as usual. 26 is going to be create. 29, create feeble. Not a fan of feeble, I'm going to re-roll that. 2, beautiful. Artificial. Okay, so create something artificial. Which means there is going to be a snow, let's see how to do this. A landslide covering the trail of snow. An avalanche, a small avalanche. Create artificial. I think the create was for me as the GM. Artificial meaning that our team is going to have to figure out a way around it. So let's just say there is this snow that is blocking the path for our party to cross. They don't see it just yet. They might in the next few seconds, but let's do an encounter check to make sure we don't encounter any creatures. I think at this point, 25% chance. Oh, that's an extreme yes. Okay. They do indeed encounter something. The minute they enter this new region, they encounter the following. Drawing a card from our trusty... Okay, this is actually not going to work. I need to find something that's more in theme for the area. I have, let's see, a bunch of choices. That works. It's basically a 2-legged creature. They are all mutated. Now, is there more than one? 25% chance. There's not. There's just this one. This is a mutated 2-legged creature that looks like a dragon. I'm ignoring the hitchhiker on the back there. I'm going to say it's this creature here. Nakdrek Raider. The Nakdrek Raider, if I'm pronouncing that right. This guy pops out. Let's grab a die to represent it. I will say this will be a D6. It's running, and as it stops, it skids across right in front of our team. Now, it smelled the humans, so that's why it ran up here, and it is aggressive. Like I mentioned before, most creatures in this region are aggressive and will attack on sight. So we have an encounter. As it runs up from this narrow path, we will now roll initiative, and that will be the usual D4s. 2D6 is a wild die. Blue is the team, red is us. Or, I'm sorry, blue is the team and red is the enemy. Equal, but the wild die puts us for the win. So, this caught Keera. She is looking at her tablet following their travel through this path on the tablet. But she gets startled to hear the footsteps of this creature. Jax takes point, pulls out his gun, but we're going to do an ammo check. I think he's fairly fully stocked for this mission, so 90% chance he has ammo. Yep, he does. He's well equipped. Now I'll have to remember that 90% for next time. Next check will be a couple episodes from now. Most likely 75 or 80% will be the mark. Okay, he is going to pull out his usual go-to, and that's a pump action shotgun, and going to fire using his shooting die of a D8 against the parry. Well, the target number 4. Roll on the wild die. That's a hit. Well, actually, it's an ace. That's going to be a 9. That's 1 ace over 4. Thus, it will explode, giving us an extra D6 for damage. And we're going to roll 3D6. That's going to be 10 total. And the extra D6 I'm going to roll now. I was mistaken. 3D6 is the default roll. 2 is the additional D6. That's going to be 10, 12, 14 over 4. Well, actually, its toughness is 6 based on its die type. So 1, 2 is D4, D6 difficulty tier. So 6, that is going to be, let's see, 10, 14. That's 2 raises over 6. Thus, it is the minute it's running from this narrow path, it gets startled and encounters our team, freaking out Keera. But I believe, because of those 2 raises, Jax actually heard this thing coming. He had his gun ready. We just came from an encounter earlier with 2 other creatures. So he is ready. The minute it runs in, it slides to a stop, startled by 2 humans, but also aware of them. He shoots. It goes flying back and dies right in front of them. 1 clean shot, wounded with the 2 raises. So a hell of a shot from Jax. He lowers his weapon. Keera smiles. Jax laughs and says that was way too easy. Keera says that thing was running pretty fast. So Jax acknowledges that. It's true. This creature was. I'm going to keep this creature close by. That creature was actually running fairly fast. It was bolted out of here, which means Keera says there may be more of them. So Jax nods, and he's going to take lead, I should say. And he's going to enter this split. Now Keera, they both, remember, have their night vision goggles on. Jax takes his night vision goggles off. He looks to the left, and we're going to do a notice roll. For him, a notice is D6, same as Keera. This will be the wild die and the D4. D6. 5 is a standard success. He hears noises, strange similar noises to the creature they heard earlier. Maybe it's a tauntaun. So they heard the noise of a tauntaun coming from this way here. He says he believes there's more up there. He can hear the noise echoing through this canyon, this chasm. Keera remains steady behind. She says, "How many do you think there are?" And he remains completely still. He tells Keera, he shush. He goes, "Shh." They listen. And let's ask the Oracle, is there more noise approaching them? Is there going to be another tauntaun approaching them? 75% chance. Nope, there's not. Okay, so I think it's silent. I think the gunshot that echoed through the chasm startled whatever other creature was over here, most likely the other tauntaun, and it has ran the other way. So perhaps there was two of them. There seems to be, in this area, I'm noticing with the wolves and everything, typically two creatures per encounter. They seem to travel in pairs. So the other creature got startled away, and he lowers his weapon, putting his goggles back on, and says, he whispers to Keera, "It's clear." While he turns over here, he sees the small avalanche. The path is covered with snow. So he turns to Keera, signals that he thinks the path is cleared, is blocked. They walk up to this small avalanche. And I'm checking the item list of both characters. They don't have any shovels, but can they simply just climb over it? I'm going to say likely. So 75% chance. Oh, that's an extreme yes. They can indeed climb over, which means this is not that bad. It's just maybe a foot or two high. They're going to crawl. They're going to just step over it. So it wasn't as bad as I originally thought, or originally planned on it to be. So just for fun, I'm going to do 2 basic agility rolls, climbing rolls, sorry. But Keera doesn't have climbing. I will, however, make this be a team effort. So Jax maybe will help her over. So this will be a D4, because again, Keera doesn't have it. Jax does have climbing, and the 1 wild die. She's aiding basically, and I'll put a +2 because of the extreme yes earlier. So the D6 aces, and so does the D4. The D4 aces, which is going to be somewhere here in my tray. Okay, so we're going with the wild die here. +2. So that's 7, 8, 9. That's 1 raise over 4. Meaning that they easily climb over, their feet stomp in the snow, but they easily climb over and get to their side. That was not as bad as I expected it to be. Now they are in the other half of this area. And as they approach, we will roll for the Oracle and see what happens here. The create artificial is what led me to do the avalanche. And now we're going to ask the Oracle again, what happens in this moment? 15. Communicate, okay. Maybe something with the tablet, perhaps? 7. Right, okay, so her tablet, oh, this is perfect. I know exactly what this is. Her tablet lights up, and it's a sensor. It says obstruction detected. And she's confused because she's looking around with her goggles, and she takes them off occasionally. Look around, like there's nothing around, there's no electronics in sight. But she then uses her camera on her tablet, lifts it in front of her because it has a specialized camera to detect anomalies. So she takes point. Jax is just kind of observing what's going on here. I'm also trying to focus on the... Ooh, I see a hindrance that might actually come in handy, and I'm going to save that as a surprise. But anyways, she starts to walk with the tablet in front of her face. Slowly, Jax is concerned what's going on here. And I'm going to do a notice roll for Keera, but with an item, a +2. Her notice is a D6, but she has an item assist. Ooh, the wild die aced, and that's going to be 9, 10, 11. So that's 1 raise over 4. Yep, that's 1 raise. Okay, which means she finds that there is a... Let me grab the eraser. There is a hologram right here that's projecting a continuous wall image similar to the actual wall of the mountain here, and it continues on, but she says it glitches or it's transparent on her camera. So we're going to reveal this area. She has this big smile across her face. She's like, I found something. Jax doesn't see anything, but then he leans over her shoulder to look at the camera on the tablet and sees that there is indeed this secret entrance here. So they slowly walk up. Jax stops her and says, hold on, there might be a trap. She stops. She has the tablet in front of her. She's kind of doing this with the tablet, back and forth. She's looking at the ground. She's trying to aim the camera at the ground, see if there's any green lasers or any motion sensors. And let's ask the Oracle. I'm thinking 90% chance there are, let's say 75% chance, because it might not be operable. The fact the hologram is operable means that there is power still. 75%. Ooh, that's almost an extreme yes, but that's a strong yes. Meaning that there is a trap. The question is, what is the trap? It could be perhaps explosives. I mean, not that extreme. I think if it was extreme, yes, explosives. Lasers. Let's just stick with the classic espionage spy lasers. So he goes forward closer to the hologram, doesn't touch it, but he listens. He's familiar with this. This is his area. You think Keera, this would be her area of technology, but for some reason he feels very confident right now. Jax listens to, this is once again, he shh to Keera. She doesn't like being shushed. She's remembering that. But he has his finger up like this, and he listens. The background noise actually tuned out the best time possible. I'm going to do a notice roll with a +2 advantage because he is listening intensely. This will be notice roll. So D6. Oh, it aced. 8. So that's 1 raise. +2, that's 10. So that is still 1 raise. He hears lasers. He can hear the beaming, the hum of a laser. Several. He turns to Keera and whispers, I think there's lasers. I can hear them. At least a few of them. So, which means Keera does something on her tablet, kind of presses a few buttons, and she looks to the ground, and there is indeed one laser. Actually, lasers in, I think, Hollywood movies are typically green, so I'm just going to use the green laser. There is, let's say, 3 of them. Kind of spanning across ankle height above the ground. So Keera peeks her head, or let's say, no, she's not going to do that. That's stupid. She takes a rock and just kind of tosses it through the hologram to see if the hologram does anything first. Not just a laser. She tosses the rock, and this will be actually not a throw. I will use agility for this one. She's trying to throw the rock carefully without triggering the laser, but she's trying to make sure that she doesn't really have to necessarily throw a rock. What would be the smartest thing to do here? What if she just tries to hack the hologram, disable the hologram itself? You know what? Here's Jax. Jax is thinking that. He says, can you disable the hologram with that thing you have, with a tablet? Can she? Let's do a knowledge roll. D8. I'm going to say +2 because it's her expertise. I think she can. Yep, look at that. It aced, rightfully so. I'm very confident she can indeed hack the another ace. Man, I'll have to result to the enemy D8s. Okay, so that's 16, 18 over 4 +2. That's 20 over 4. That's 4 raises. And look at that. There's 3 lasers, which means she sees that the network that's broadcasting these lasers and the hologram is so dated that her tablet can easily hack and disable not only the hologram, but also these lasers. So the hologram disappears, like static TV noise appears and goes away. It's still advanced technology based on if this was built like 10 or 20 years ago. Again, this is like the near future. And then Jax is watching this all unfold. The first laser goes away as she's just typing away on her screen. The second laser goes away, and then the third laser goes away. They turn off, and they reveal this strange entrance that appears in front of them. Now, here's what I was thinking. I accidentally erased these two control panels. So this entrance has two control panels and a large sliding metal door that's obviously closed. There's no way it would be just open and says enter here. But basically, they walk in. She actually walks in first. She is the one with the edge of curious and greedy. So Jax says, do you think we should be bothering with this? I mean, we have to focus on the mission. Keera then shushes him to get her payback. She says, just hold on 1 second. Just hold on 1 second. I really want to see what this place holds. So, are there any identifiable markings on this entrance? I'm thinking that perhaps there is. Let's say 60% chance. Oh my gosh, there is. There's a solid logo right above the door. Okay, a solid 1 means that there's writing. So I have to figure out what is just clearly, just bluntly labeled on top of this entrance. It says stockpile of nuclear weapons or something. Let's figure it out. What exactly is this little hidden compartment? 3. Benefit, okay. Let's see. What's the benefit? 64. Natural. Oh, benefit natural. It is a benefit natural. Well, the benefit means I need more than that. I think the benefit is for the team, for their perspective. Maybe it has a storage room of food. Natural, that's something, or plants. 99. Wow. Okay. Don't often roll that. It's warm. Oh, it's okay. Like it's a greenhouse or something. It has let's say it has to do with something in the environment. So environmental campus or environmental center, something that has to do with plants, growth. It's I'm trying to think of the term for this. I think it says plant growth facility. Just keeping it simple for myself. This laboratory, for our perspective, the audience, or mainly the GM here, like my idea is that underneath this mountain, this hidden little entrance leads to a experimental, not a research facility, but an experimental laboratory for plant growth, but with mutations. Which means we could be walking into a certain DC villain here, a certain paradise for a DC villain. So I think that Keera is so enthusiastically curious. She's so excited. She says, this might have certain things we need for our mission here. We could find some valuable items. We can find resources, food perhaps, weapons. I mean, who knows? We can take some things from here. And she's talking to Jax. She's like, we can take some things from here, sell it to on the black market. And Jax jokes, says, he looks at the sign, plant growth facility, however you want to interpret that. But she says, or he says, this feels like, are we going to find poison ivy here or something? So she grins and says, I need to find a way in. So she has her tablet and she's holding it. And the panels are just basic. They're dual panels. They both have keyholes and they have numeric pads. So again, Jax is not really going to force her to step away and focus back on the mission. He's going to walk up to the other control pad, as she also does the same thing. She's tabbling away on the tablet, talking to herself. She's like, okay, I'm going to focus on this. I'm going to access the keyhole, the key point infrastructure. It looks like, and blah, 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 other technical terms. He's just standing there, and then we want to do a lock-picking mix of knowledge. So this is a D6. It's a dual skill throw. I don't have hacking as a skill, so I thought I'd just combine it and take the best of the two with our wild die. And because she has an item, +2. So lock-picking and knowledge. And, ooh, wow, 2 actually aced. So this will be a D6 and a D8. Okay, which means that the D8 is a higher result, so I'm going to go with that. That's a 10 +2, that's 12. Over 4, that's 2 raises. So she gets 2 benefits here. For that, I'm going to give her, for discovering this whole thing here, disabling the lasers, and the two raises there, I'm going to give her a Benny to the pool. And also, I will give her, yeah, just the Benny itself. XP is usually granted at the end of the session. So she accesses the internal network of these numpads, and she says the code out loud. She says, type the code in. So it's a four number code, 5392, something like that. So they both enter at the same time. As they enter it, it beeps, light turns green, and the door starts to open, but it has not been opened in like 10 to 20 years. So when it opens, it just shakes the ground, grinding and squealing, or screeching across the floor, but it gets jammed. And this wind of warm air hits our team in their face, and they can smell it. They hear the wind howling by, and the smell of strange aromas in the air. This fragrance is just very strange. Not like not disturbingly grotesque, but it is just a very unusual smell. Not really a bad smell per se, just not typically something you smell up in the Arctic Circle. So the doors are half open, but just enough for the team to enter. So I'm going to race just like that. And now they're going to step into, well, at least Keera steps into, with her night vision goggles, into the entrance. Jax says, Keera, are you serious right now? He's whispering. Keera doesn't respond, so he's like, God damn it. He looks back at here, and he says, fine. And he goes inside with her. So I'm going to pause the video for now, and we will switch areas. Okay, so this is the entrance to the underground plant growth experimentation department. So Keera is at the staircase that leads up. Jax is cautiously behind. He is infuriated right now, but he wants to protect Keera because he likes her, actually. After they spent some time together here, he actually does admire her for her knowledge and smarts and likes her. She's proven herself to be a capable, not warrior, but a capable individual in this mission they've been going so far. But she's a little, she's kind of doing her own thing right now, and that's concerning. So while they go up to, I know this looks like a fantasy-themed area, but I'm thinking that these walls are on metal. The stairway is metal plates. Everything is gray, dark, and dim, and the only light source they have is their goggles. So let's do a power check, a charge check for both the night vision goggles. They've had them for some time, so 75% chance there's more. They still have some charge left. Yep, they are good to go. Okay, so as they look up this staircase, there's actually these large vines that are growing down the steps, and it's so strange. These really huge vines growing down, something you think Poison Ivy would do from DC, but they are going past them onto the floor, and there's an opening that they can walk up the stairs. So remember that smell I mentioned earlier, that strange aroma? It's stronger now. It may be the vines, but she is actually very, very curious right now, and she is greedy. That's one of her hindrances. But as she starts to walk up, Jax tells her, wait. The front was booby-trapped. That means these steps could also have some triggers. We need to be careful here. This is like something straight out of D&D. And she does stop. She will listen. So Jax is going to use his knowledge of just general survival skills, and he will do a little investigation of his own, which he does not have. So he's trying to show off here because, again, he likes her and wants to impress her. This will be a wild die. But he is cautious, so I will not apply a modifier to unskilled roll. We'll give it a shot. 3. Unfortunately, that is not a success. He looks at the steps, and he says, okay, these are general steps. She says, yes, as I assumed they were. She bumps him out of the way, and let's ask the Oracle, are there any traps for these steps? I actually don't think there is. The vines are on them, which means it probably would have triggered something a long time ago as they've grown from wherever they're growing from. I'm going to say 10% chance. You've got to be kidding me. So there is a trap. Gosh, I have to ask these stupid questions for the stupid Oracle. Okay, so there is a trap, and to be honest with you, I want to figure out what that trap is. I don't know what could be triggered here off the top of my head, so let's figure it out. 2 descriptors. 27. Extravagant. Oh, I have an idea. 77. Quiet. Oh, okay. Interesting. So, it's not the steps. This is a natural trap. It is the vines. It's these large, abnormally huge vines. She just touches one of the vines, and it moves. It grabs her foot and pulls her up. Starts pulling her up like it's actually alive. It's grabbing her, pulling her up the steps. Jax freaks out. He is his shotgun is let's say it's on a string, or what do you call it, on a strap. He puts it behind him, and he's going to grab her. He grabs her with his hand, and we're going to do a strength check. So this will be, he's pretty strong, or actually no, he's not as strong as I thought. Just a D6. So he's more an all-around employee. So D6, grab her. And she's also resisting, so I'll give a +1 here. It's not necessarily an opposing roll. It could be an opposing roll. Let's make an opposing roll. So here's what I'm going to do. This is very confusing, but I'm going to include a die for the plant. A D6. It's an opposing roll. Okay, that could have been Snake Eyes. So with the wild die, success, generally, but it's an opposing roll. We beat the red. He's able to pull her, and the vine is very old. It snaps, and they fall back onto the floor. The vine kind of recoils, like it rolls up like the witch's socks. So this vine kind of goes back, and the other vines start to kind of move a little bit closer to them. So they take a step back to figure out what to do next. Okay, so while they fall back onto the floor here, they both get up. They're not wounded. They're not shaken. This was just a fairly harmless moment, or I should say a lucky moment. When all of these vines start to move closer to the team, they hear a large growl and a rumble coming from up the stairs, and that scent, that aroma, becomes stronger. They see a huge plant creature that kind of looks like Ivysaur from Pokemon, kind of like that, but it's this large blob of like a plant that approaches and appears glowing green, like irradiated exterior, and a bunch of glowing eyes as approaches the steps, and our team is just, they are completely blown away by what the hell this thing is. So that's where we're going to end the episode. Our team has encountered this strange beast with a plant-based mutant with these large vines. It must have been hibernating here or just chilling, but that's what they encountered for next time. So we were going very fantasy here, which I didn't really expect, but I did mention that there is mutated creatures in this whole area. So whatever the hell the U.S. government was doing in this abandoned building, our team is they are indeed discovering it for the first time in decades. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.